The Alabama defense that responded, bounced back last week against Mississippi State after a loss to Texas A&M and the 49-9 rout of the Bulldogs in Starkville had a lot of you thinking, has Alabama found an identity? Has Alabama found its identity on the defensive side of the ball? I will say this, it found a spark. Can it build on that? It's found a spark defensively, but can it build on that? Can it add to that? Can it grow to that in terms of continuing the dominance, in terms of continuing the consistent play, the successful play as we venture through this season? Because the performance that we saw against Mississippi State, for a lot of us, this was the defense we thought we would get at the start of the year. When you look on paper and you're seeing the veteran names returning on defense, you're seeing the marquee contributors, you're also seeing the talented freshmen coming in. This was the defense everybody thought that we were going to get throughout the totality of the season. But huge game against Mississippi State, big win. Spark was provided, but can it continue to do so? And for Coach Saban, he spoke after the game. Finally, a complete game. Finally, a full game for 60 minutes. Finally, our Bama kept the composure. It sustained the intensity. It sustained the energy. It sustained the effort. It made plays. It gave Coach Saban what he's wanted the entire season so far. And that's a complete game on defense. What was interesting was last week you saw players speak with a lot of emotion. Will Anderson, emotional. DJ Dale spoke quite a bit. Guys were talking about how, we did not like getting punched in the mouth against Texas A&M. We've never lost before. We haven't lost in, almost 2 years. So it was a new feeling for this Crimson Tide team. But at the same time, it knew what the expectations were. It knew what the goal was in mind. We have not been playing complete football. We have not been playing to the Alabama moniker. We have not been playing to the Alabama standard. We have not lived up to the expectations. And Coach Saban challenged the team. Players challenged themselves. Saban mentioned that a player stood up in team meetings and challenged the team prior to the Bulldogs matchup. And now I don't know if this player was Will Anderson. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Coach Saban didn't say. I don't know if it was Brian Robinson or if it was Fidarian Mathis, if it was any of the leadership guys. Heck, I don't care. The guy from My Name is Earl could have sat there and said something. For the first time, we were like, finally, somebody challenging this team. It needed to be said. It needed to be done. It needed to be handled. And it was handled, helping Coach Saban get that complete game that he wanted to have for this defense. Now, as we look at here the numbers that this group put up against Mississippi State, now mind you, this is an air raid offense under Mike Leach. They believe in moving the ball, throwing it all over the field, scoring points, stressing you out, spreading you out, frustrating your linebackers and defensive players in the secondary. But for the second consecutive year, second straight year, Alabama defense held Mississippi State out the end zone. No touchdowns for the Bulldogs in this matchup. Bama defense held Mississippi State to 9 points, held Mississippi State to under 300 yards of total offense, 299, negative 1 yard rushing is what the Bulldogs had. Alabama created 7 sacks, 4 of them from Will Anderson, but 7 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, forced 3 turnovers, including 2 interceptions from Jordan Battle. One of those returned for a touchdown. Alabama won 9 times on third down. It was able to get off the field. State converted just 7 of 16 third downs. Bama defense flying around the field, making plays, hitting guys, making tackles, wrapping up in space, doing what needed to be done to stifle, to frustrate, to take Will Rogers, Mike Leach, and the air raid offense out its element at Davis Wade Stadium. But I thought one of the most impressive things that I saw over the weekend, Coach Saban actually did some different things in terms of personnel, in terms of strategy. If you watch the game intently, you saw more Daniel Wright than DeMarco Helms in the secondary at free safety. In pregame warmups, Daniel Wright was the starting free safety in the base 3-4 defense and also the dime defense. Alabama had DeMarco Helms start in the nickel, but it didn't go to nickel until the fourth quarter, so Helms didn't play until late in the ball game. Daniel Wright played well, had 5 tackles, tackled in space, wrapped up, did not allow the yards after the catch, communicated well. So Daniel Wright had a good game, played well, and he's always had the talent. This is the brother of Major Wright, who played at Florida, also played in the NFL. So Daniel Wright's always had tools. It was for him, can I trust myself to do my job on the field consistently? And he did that against the Bulldogs over the weekend. Good job there from Daniel Wright. Another thing that you probably saw was Bama did a lot of twist stunt blitzes with Christian Harris and Brian Branch. And on one of those twist stunts, both of those two guys hit the same gap. They both hit home on Will Rogers, sharing a sack. And Saban talked about it. Bama used multiple schemes, multiple looks, multiple packages, multiple personnel stunts to really get this group on the attack mode, getting to the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback, taking the air raid offense out of its element, out of sync there. So you saw a lot of those twist stunts there from Christian Harris and Brian Branch. Another thing you probably saw was more LaBryan Ray versus DJ Dale. And LaBryan Ray went out there and gave great effort, made some plays. LaBryan Ray is actually becoming more of a vocal leader on the team, and it's about time. LaBryan Ray has always been kind of a quiet guy. Former 5-star, came in the 2017 class from James Clemens High School. Yes, he's been hampered and limited by injuries, but it's good to see one of the older guys, 5th-year senior on this team, step up, use his voice, and challenge the guys on this team. Maybe it was LaBryan Ray that stepped up in the team meetings and gave that speech Coach Saban was talking about. Who knows? But we saw more so of him than DJ Dale. LaBryan Ray gave great effort out there on the field. Folks, Will Anderson is an absolute menace. Will Anderson is unblockable. Will Anderson cannot be stopped. And for a lot of people, made fun of me comparing him to one Derek Thomas, but I will say this. The comparisons to Tim Williams, that's spot on. If you look at Tim Williams, 2 years as a starter, 2015 and 16, and you look at the 2 years of Will Anderson last year and this year, for tackle for loss numbers, for sacks numbers, identical right there on the line. And one of the things that Saban did with Anderson, he moved him all over the field, kind of like what Bama did with Derek Thomas back in the 80s. Anderson was lined up on the left side. He was lined up on the right side. He was a bull rusher. He had X-stunt moves. He had twist stunt moves. He came on delayed blitzes like Will Anderson. They moved him all around the field. 4 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, could not be stopped. He's got 7 sacks this season. He's got 15 tackles for loss. The brother's the real deal. Was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Got it for a 3rd straight time, and got for the 3rd time this season. And then when you look at Josh Jobe and Jordan Battle, the job that these two did, setting the tone with interceptions, setting the tone, creating turnovers. Jobe, not a pass interference flag this past week. Hey, trusted that technique. 7 tackles, got the pick to get the party started. And then Jordan Battle, 2 interceptions for him. That was really huge, including a pick 6 to get the game going. So the Bama defense got a spark. Huge spark. Can it add on that? Can it build on that? That's the big picture for it moving forward.